Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 2 of this best of 3 series from the Raidcall D2L League Season 3. This is going to be VP versus Liquid, and we are going to get right into it in 3, 2, 1, unpause. No more wasting time. We're all about that efficiency. And we are back. And this has been a pretty interesting series. And when I say series, I mean we've only watched one game, but that game was pretty interesting. Just because it had some cool heroes, although the strategy wasn't really that interesting because of Chaos Knight Wisp. But Liquid, recognizing that VP do have the first pick, gonna ban the Wisp, so obviously respect it enough to get rid of it altogether.
What did you say they had the first pick? Because normally you want to get rid of Wisp when you yourself have first pick, you ban the Wisp because he's so good in second pick because you get Wisp CK, but you can't if you first pick him up yourself, the other team's gonna pick up like CK and something else immediately. I don't know. That's usually what happens. You rarely see teams first pick Wisp because then they have to do some like weird Wisp tiny thing. Anyway, Trans first ban because the hero's overpowered. I say that completely seriously. They get rid of Gyro because Liquid obviously runs that a lot, and then Bat right because you have second pick, and Virtus.Pro goes with the very flexible Darkseer first pick up.
Yeah, Darkseer is one of these heroes who is still as versatile as ever, and it's very difficult to bounce him, just because, I mean, Vacuum is always going to remain powerful, as well as his ultimate. I think the only thing you can really change about him is the amount of damage that Iron Shell does, but still, he's not to the point where he is a must-have in every situation, although he is extremely flexible. We'll see what Liquid decides to respond with right now. Will they pick up some of their supports, or will they decide to go for something like... Oh man, I'm just completely brain farting at the moment. Maybe something like a Rubik opening or something like that. Maybe try to get a Korok hero before Virtus.Pro can try to ban out in the second round of bans.
Well, I don't know. The ban pick really works a lot differently now because you only have 2 picks before the second round of bans, so I can't really say. Like, it used to be so important that you pick up a support in the first 3, but now I don't know if it is as important anymore. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think a lot of teams aren't really quite used to it, you know? Like, everybody always used to have, this is how they draft, and, like, you could just see, like, every single drafter, like, did one general thing, and they did it every single time. It was like a flowchart, sort of. But they don't do that anymore, so...
Yeah, I mean, it does bring some nice variety, but still, we are seeing a bit more sort of, I guess, variety in terms of drafts, just because not only is the patch more balanced in general, but just captains are experimenting with different heroes and different drafting options. But Liquid gonna pick up the Lifestealer as well as Clockwork, so they're gonna go with what they know, TC Lifestealer, along with the Clockwork. Although Korok did play the Lifestealer in the last game, it's probably gonna be TC in this game, and Bulba Clockwork is still as good as ever. The only thing that got nerfed about Clockwork is that the cogs no longer interrupt magical immune, which means you can't really push them out relentlessly with the fact of the cogs. With Virtus.Pro, we'll see what they decide to go for right now, since they have the second choice here. They're going to pick up the Naga Siren themselves, so we're going to go back into a little bit of TI2 days, that Naga-Darkseer combination. No longer brain dead, but still pretty solid, pretty, I guess, not that difficult to execute if you get the timing down. And Naga Siren does remarkably well against Lifestealer, so I like this choice quite a bit by VP.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, Naga Siren, I feel like her role at this point is basically just to shut down the Lifestealer. So, I don't know. Team Liquid goes with probably what they would have done in the last patch. Like, I thought it was funny how you're like, oh, they're trying out new stuff, and then they go Lifestealer Clockwork. But, I don't know. They're probably going to ban out... Neither team has a support. Like, both teams have their carry and offlaner. And I'm pretty sure Liquid has the option of laning Clock mid or even safe lane solo, but it'll probably be an off lane. So they might, I don't know, like both teams can't just ban out all the supports because both teams need supports, you know?
Well, Liquid banning out very smart support. They really respect that Darkseer Vacuum into Ice Path into Macro Power combination, and with Naga Sleep to set up that combination to a whole chunk of damage, even if Lifestealer manages to pop the Rage. I mean, even then, it's not really that feasible just because it can vacuum into Ice Path regardless. So, Liquid ban out the Jakiro, smart ban in my opinion. But VP, we'll see what they decide to go for right now. Liquid, I feel like their lineup has a tendency to rely on Korok quite a bit, just because they always have a reasonably strong early game on the back of their supports, but their mid game really just sort of either skyrockets or just plummets on the back of Korok. So we're gonna have to see if Virtus.Pro are gonna bounce to mid heroes here, or no, they're gonna bounce the Lone Druid, and looks like they're just going to ban out all the other carries they don't like playing against. I don't know why the Lone Druid ban was a choice in this situation, but VP obviously don't feel like playing against him.
I don't think that they necessarily had an answer for Lone Druid. Like, Naga Siren can't really kill the bear, you know?
That's true.
So they haven't got anybody who can really chew through it, and obviously Syllabear Nyx is just so scary. So, I mean, if you pick up the Lone Druid, then you can really lane him in safe lane solo. Lifestealer can be an offensive tri lane, and Clockwork can be mid, and that's just really strong in all three lanes. So, I feel like it's just a pretty decent ban. Like, even if there wasn't a great reason for banning Syllabear, you should still ban it because that hero is ridiculous.
Well, Liquid banning out the puck, so they're going to eliminate one of Korok's favorite heroes. And Virtus.Pro, let's see what they decide to go for. Keep in mind, Liquid do have the first pick after the second ban phase ends. The system is a little bit wonky, but I guess we're going to have to see if they're going to pick up something like Queen of Pain, maybe a TA to go for middle. TA against Darkseer, of course, is an abysmal matchup, but Liquid actually picking up the Disruptor, so they don't really want to have VP get the vacuum into Kinetic Field's Sonic or Static Storm combination, but also Disruptor against Darkseer, pretty strong because of Surge not really mattering nearly as much, and also just restricting people in the area and with the clock as well as the Lifestealer.
The idea behind that is, when there's a really, like you said, brain dead AoE combination, a lot of times what you do is you pick a Disruptor and then you just drop the static field on top of yourself, even if they're not there yet, because it will prevent Mag from like blinking and ulting or something. In this case, the combo is the Darkseer or Naga Siren, they're going to be on top of your team, and your team's going to be out of position and all vacuumed up. So you just immediately drop Static Storm on top of yourself after the sleep ends, and then they can't cast anything.
Well,
like,
VP,
they won't be able to vacuum in.
Well,
and that, well, that's the answer to that, I guess. I mean,
yeah, VP says, fuck your counter. We're going to counter your counter with our own counter in the form of a silencer. It's been a while since I've seen a silencer. Teams did experiment with him for a little bit, but in the end, he's very limited just because as support, he doesn't really thrive that much, and as a mid hero, he just gets ganked way too easily. But silencer in this role, being sort of a counter to Disruptor, is going to be really strong because VP is all about that team fight. The question is if VP will have enough experience to go around, but Liquid, Disruptor is not really an aggressive hero by any means, so I imagine VP will be pretty free to pick up as much experience as they want, and I'm not too sure what Liquid can do about it. But they're going to pick up the Dragonet, another tanky hero that can sort of withstand a lot of the damage, but still, he does take a while to get going. I'm a bit concerned about Liquid's early to mid-game presence with these 4 picks.
yeah, and I'm actually surprised that they're going to pick up Templar Assassin as an answer to Dragon Knight. Like, that hero has trouble bursting through armor. Like, it's really difficult for her to kill Dragon Knight just because, I don't know, it's just one of those heroes that kind of is all built around you kill people before they can kill you back. But if you ever blink on him or go on him, he's just going to live and then stun you and then 100 to 0 you. So, I'm a little bit worried for that. I think right now Liquid has a bit of an advantage.
Well, I guess some of the reasoning is with the first 3 picks, VP had no damage to kill the Dragon Knight. At least they have Riptide in conjunction with Mel to get rid of the majority of DK's armor, but still, it is going to be difficult. But it does give him access into a very strong mid lane hero, and Dragon Knight, of course, has been one of the harder nerfed heroes in the back of the Bottle Crow nerf, although he can still Bottle Crow quite efficiently. As VP, going to be able to keep recognizing Liquid still needs support, and Team Liquid to ban out the Vengeful Spirit, maybe recognizing that Virtus.Pro have played it in a couple of scrims or in a couple of their previous matches, and also not wanting to get the swap going. But VP,
it's the minus armor.
Yeah, minus armor, I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, that plus Naga plus TA is really good. It's a good way to kill Lifestealer too.
So VP, I think their last support will be something teamfight oriented, but to think of what it can be, I'm honestly blanking. As Sand King is going to be chosen by Liquid, I'm not really too sure why teams love the Sand King support so much. Can you explain it?
I mean, both teams are obviously going for a mid-game presence. Like, the support silencer isn't going to be that strong, and the support disruptor early isn't that strong. So, I guess they just figure, screw the early game, we're going to safe lane our people, and we're going to have them just try to chain pull and get as much as they can. And he deals a lot of damage. Like, for support, he deals like the most damage mid-game, and he can initiate, which most supports can't really, you know? I guess Nyx sort of can, but still.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just, I guess they see that they don't need to go for the early game because the enemy team has a silencer, and then they can just go for mid game.
Right. And Liquid, they have something they can do during Global Silence. I mean, DK doesn't really care about it so much. Lifestealer does, well, he sort of cares about it if you can get into Rage form. So I guess Liquid have something they can do in the back of Global Science, but Virtus.Pro gonna look to pick up their last support, and Liquid, they have a lot of AoE, but VP gonna pick up Witch Doctor. I love this choice because vacuum into casks into Maledict means you're gonna be locked down for so long. It's pretty much as good as a hero, if not as reliable. So I like this choice quite a bit.
Look at the amount of melee on Liquid.
Yeah, they're always gonna be clumping up.
I mean, I really think that Witch Doctor is, in general, one of the worst heroes in the game. But in a situation like this, I really like it because, one, you're going to be able to stop him from being stunned with all the team fight. And then all the melee on the other team means you can just kind of abuse that. Like, you might even be able to aggressive... No, you can't. That's a defensive tri-lane. Never mind. I lied.
Well, I mean, in this game, why not just farm the Witch Doctor to go for that Aghanim Scepter rush? I'm honestly curious why teams don't run it, but it does take too long. Witch Doctor, you know, he's channeling for his ultimate, but still, make it happen. Remaining. I'm looking at you, Alliance. Carry Witch Doctor, let's go.
I've seen IX Mike do it.
I mean, it's... Once you get Aghanim Scepter on Witch Doctor, you win the game.
Basically. it should come with the Skrillex, you know, the...
Yeah, the reptile
you know, the song. The reptile song? Yeah, that's it.
So meanwhile, introducing the players and teams, we're going to have NS playing the Witch Doctor, Illidan is going to be playing the Nagasai, and KSI is going to be playing the offlane Darkseer, Tamarod, aka Crazy, is going to be playing the Templar Assassin, and ars-art is going to be taking care of that silence to me on the side of Liquid. We're going to have TC once again playing the Dragon Knight, and that means Korok will once again be playing the Lifestealer. Fluff is going to be playing the Sand King, Clockwork will be handled by Bulba, and IX Mike is going to be taking care of that Disruptor. So once again, Korok will be the safe lane farmer while TC takes control of the middle lane. I'm not too sure. I guess it's just because TC are more comfortable with these heroes, but I don't know.
Well, what I think it is a lot of times, and if you look at it, a lot of teams do this, but they want their high impact hero, like their highest impact hero for the mid game, which is like 95% of the time it's just the mid, like Queen of Pain or whatever. You want that to be played by a person, and if for whatever reason it isn't in mid lane, because in this case, you know, DK isn't really a high impact hero, he just kind of sits and farms. It's going to be Nyx who's going to be the playmaker this game. So Korok, he's the playmaker, he's going to play Nyx, and then, you know, you're going to have your farming person actually play the mid hero. It's like when you have a Syllabear mid, your mid player doesn't play it, it's your farming player plays it, you know?
Yeah, that's true. As Dragon Knight is pulled one salve, and meanwhile Templar Assassin is just pulled a set of Tango, so both heroes relatively even in terms of regeneration. But in terms of rune control, I think VP might have a slight advantage. I mean, I guess it's even since both Trons aren't really going to be facing against each other. But look, we're going to pick up the first rune, Disruptor set. Such a badass Disruptor set, oh my god. Anything with an eye patch. Beautiful. Anything with an eye patch is just automatically legit.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that had an eye patch. That's awesome.
But I also like nicely microing the illusion, trying to drain as many refraction charges as possible, and Tamarod actually gets all his refraction charges drained, so TC, thus far, controlling the lane quite well, but still, it's only 45 seconds in the game. This definitely doesn't speak to how this game will go. And meanwhile, Bulba just doing the traditional Clockwork cog blocking rather than the, you know, scumbag Clockwork cog blocking.
Yeah, I think we saw that in the last game we cast, where you get them stuck, but then they came later. I think there's a way to get them stuck there permanently, but I don't know, so... And yeah, check out what NS is doing. This is one of the things that Witch Doctor really has going for him. He's really probably the best support at poking people out of lane. So when you're in a defensive tri-lane against a solo hero, he can just kind of poke the person forever. Because look at his base damage. It's got 58, and he actually got Maledict at level 1 just to poke him more. Yeah, I guess you can do that now that it's got decent range, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an option. You don't really see that, but I guess he's realizing that we don't really need to stun at level 1 since Bulba's just going to always play so defensively. But Witch Doctor's hero does want some experience. He wants to get at least 1 point to the heal just because it does help you out quite a bit. Get that multiple levels into cast, get the multiple levels into Maledict, because Maledict by itself doesn't do that much damage. I mean, one Tangle pretty much healed Bulba up to full HP, but the base damage of Witch Doctor, like you mentioned, is quite high. So overall, it looks like both teams are going to be playing pretty passively for the most part, just because their lineups sort of dictate that. So I'm looking on the TA to make a lot of things happen in the early to mid stages of the game, and that's why my eye will be kept on Crazy in the middle lane.
I don't think that the TA is going to be able to make a lot happen, because look who she has to kill. She can't kill the DK, you can't kill the Lifestealer. Sand King's got so many escapes. Disruptor can send you back if you ever go on her, and Clockwork's impossible to kill to begin with, so... as much, like, you know me, I'm a TA spammer. I love that hero. I think that the hero's underplayed, and she's played a lot. But I don't think that she'll be able to make that many big plays this game. But, you know, I'd like to be proven wrong, so.
Yep, both teams farming up, and once again, Liquid sort of sacrificing their. Well, not once again. I guess it happened in the previous game, but Liquid Bulba not going to get as much experience as KSI because, of course, KSI can just go into the jungle. Meanwhile, Clockwork can just sort of sit and stand there and just wait to sort of try and make something happen. But he is going to prevent some of the stacks at the very least. No, looks like he can't even do that just because it is a bit fearsome. But Bulba, he will get to the Magic Bush Ward properly, so ars-art's camp was not stacked correctly, and that's pretty big because Darkseer will definitely make use of that, Nog can make great usage of that, but still, Bulba is really not getting any experience, and Clockwork, his impact in the mid stages of the game, not going to be that strong with his current experience growth.
No, I think it's okay. I mean, Clockwork's one of those heroes who really can come back from a slow 6, probably more so than anybody, just because all you need is that one hook shot to really get back in it, but he's probably going to hit 6 at around like 12, 13 minutes, the way this is going. So I am a little bit worried for him. I want to check out the levels on the Sand King. He's only level 2, which frankly sucks. You want to get him up to a fast 6, fast mana boots. Like, that's really important.
Yeah, and the reason why I always say in games I don't like support Sand King is because Epicenter doesn't really get better as the game goes on. It gets better the earlier you get it, and support Sand King sort of does need a Blink Dagger in order to make the great usage of Epicenter. But Bulba is going to get netted on the bottom lane. Here comes Maldic, but they probably won't be able to kill him. Actually, Nagasiren cutting around with the Riptide, and Bulba actually got stunned in place. Looks like Witch Doctor does pick up the first blood, and also very, very annoying is that Silencer stole 2 intelligence. Such an annoying ability, and that's going to be annoying for Bulba, as he definitely needs some mana, and Silencer with a bit more mana to spam his abilities. So really nice engagement by Virtus.Pro on the bottom lane, and I'm not too sure what Bulba can do, because this can happen quite frequently.
Yeah. He might just resort to, you know, stacking the Ancients for DK and camping bot rune, but mid lane, it looks like they're just trying to zone out TMW. How do you say that? Tomorrow?
It's Tame My Wild, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's...
I never know what to call the Virtus.Pro players, but yeah. That guy's only got 23 creeps, which you say, oh, only 23 creeps in 5 minutes. He could have a lot more, but IX Mike and Fluff have really actually just with a little tiny bit of effort really managed to zone him. But I wanted to talk about the phase boots on Naga. Normally you'd see that you go, oh my god, this person's an idiot. Because, you know, the boots of choice are Tranquils for farming, mana boots for team fighting early, or treads for like the late game presence. But I think because there's so much melee on Liquid, maneuverability is going to be really, really important, and I'm pretty sure we'll see her go for a drums too, which is, you know, a pretty decent pickup on Naga, but then you get the phase drum and you can just like run circles around all those melee heroes.
Yeah, interesting choice. I never really would have thought about that, but phase boots is definitely not something you see on Naga usually. But meanwhile, in the middle lane, TC is doing quite a good job. Keep in mind, Liquid has pretty much gotten every single rune, and I don't know if Team My Wild has been ball growing as heavily, but TC doing a nice job, and Dragon Knight left by his lonesome can do quite a bit as Team My Wild forced to melt, but there is a Sentry in place. Team My Wild will take a lot of damage. The Breath of Fire gonna come in, and the last hit by TC will be enough. Alex Mike wasted the glimpse, but that's not really the biggest steal. And that is going to be a solid mid lane kill by TC. Nice job by the Liquid supports getting him Sentry Ward. Picked up by Fluff. So really, really nice play by TC in the middle lane. And TA not having such a good go of it, especially since Dragon Knight has hit that level 6.
Yeah, it's incredibly important to have that Sentry Ward in mid lane once TA hits 6. And like even if your supports don't get it, a lot of times in mid player you just have to buy it for yourself because your supports are poor. But mid lane's something's gonna happen. TC's getting gone on.
Yep, here comes the Maldic in conjunction with the Curse of the Silence, or the Last Word rather. And will the Maldic be enough? Here comes the other Curse of the Silence damage over time, and the Iron Shell in conjunction with the Surge going to be enough to allow Darkseer to pick up the kill. And I think NS got the majority of that experience, so that's going to be a pretty high-level Witch Doctor at this stage in the game, which is going to be very, very annoying for Liquid to deal with, because a high-level Witch Doctor is no joke. He is quite powerful.
And Silencer's 5, Witch Doctor is almost 5. Like, the supports have a full level on Liquid supports. But, oh yeah, just finishing up the point I was making before, you need a Sentry Ward down, because if there's a trap ahead of time, then she goes on you, she'll be able to cast another trap, so you'll be slowed the entire time. You need to make sure she can't get 2 traps off you, just 1. And mid lane, there's going to be a gank.
Yep, looks like Temo once again gonna get stunned up. The Dragon Tail will follow up Fluff. Not doing enough damage with the Sandstorm, but still the trap will be there to cover Crazy's retreat. He will wand up just for the heck of it, as that gank unfortunately did not work out for Liquid, but it is gonna be enough to force Crazy to burn all his bottle charge uses actually, and that's gonna come in with the salve, allowing Crazy to stay in his lane. And a little bit of an unfortunate situation for Liquid, but honestly, there's not really too much they could have done better in that situation, as TC still controlling lane rather well, using that Poison Breath whenever possible, but meanwhile, NS just going to be placing wards up on the high ground. Liquid going to use this opportunity to push down the tower, recognizing that their mid lane gank didn't work out. They want to force a rotation by Virtus.Pro, trying to interrupt their really, really ridiculous freeform.
Yeah. And right now, I would say this game's pretty even. I can't say he's winning.
Yeah, I mean, looks like Korok is going to go for the bracer into armlet or drums. I'm not too sure. I guess most likely drums, but he did pick up the early gloves of haste. Maybe he was thinking of Midas and then reconsidered.
No, what happens was a lot of times heroes will go for a bracer and then realize that they don't need to finish the drums because they have such a big lead. A lot of people do this, like Gyro, Kunkka, even Naga Siren. So he's just going to go straight for armlet. Because the bracer, when you get a drums, it only gives you 3 more tankiness than the bracer gives you. So I guess he feels like it's enough and there's no need to spend 1250 gold upgrading it. You just get to that late game faster, you know?
Meanwhile, Bulba, since the Virtus.Pro have just been pulling or stacking and trying to kill out the creeps relentlessly, that means there are creeps pushing to his tower, and he has been able to hit a pretty fast little 8.5 bits in the game. Pretty respectable, so good job by Bulba trying to get himself back in the game. Now he does have access into the hookshot, but the question is if Liquid actually have enough damage to kill anybody on side of VP without a rotation by the supports. But still, TC free farming away, Korok free farming away. Liquid not in that bad of a position. The only thing that is a bit concerning is that the levels on sports are quite high, but still, that will remain to be seen how much of an impact that actually will have.
Yeah, and I actually really like the skill build that NS is doing. Like, he's got a pretty decent level, so he says, hey, I'm going to put all my points into Maledict. You know, the normal build at this point would be 3 in Cask, 1 heal, 1 in Maledict, but if you can max out Maledict, it's so much damage, and he can because it's got an advantage in mid lane.
Oh, the trap has been popped. Here comes NS coming in. The cask will not bounce, but the Maledict will manage to land. The global silence will come in, and that means Fluff cannot follow up with stun, but TC will be able to escape. So, burning that global silence, nice job by Liquid. TC still taking a lot of damage from the curse of silence, and actually Timrod will get glimpsed right back in. Timrod will take a whole bunch of damage. Can Virtus.Pro follow up to save his life? No, he will end up dying. Korok is there. Bulba comes in with a huge hook, but does not have enough to get the cogs off. He did not have enough mana, just barely. No mana regeneration, nothing like a wand, and that is very, very fortuitous for Virtus.Pro. But Liquid taking that engagement very, very nicely. Survived the first global silence, which usually can cause so much havoc, but still, I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's first or second global silence. That spell is just so powerful at any stage.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spell. But yeah, I mean, TA got 2 traps off, and without the mass TPs of Liquid, TC might have gone down. Like I said, Dragon Knight's pretty hard to kill, but the hero was in trouble, so,
oh TC once again getting initiated on as he's going to pop the haster and trying to escape the curse of the silence in conjunction with Maledict. Going to do quite a bit. He's bottling up frantically. It looks like he will be able to survive. If this is a max Maledict, it might be a different story, but TC with the haster and actually going to get back to base relatively quickly, and that means he can get his ass right back into the middle lane and just continue his farming spree. But looks like Virtus.Pro trying to make a lot of attempts on Dragon Knight's life, but like you mentioned earlier, he's just too damn difficult to bring down.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Nakes and Naga are kind of free farming. Naga's at 82 creeps, Jesus. And Nakes is at like 78. So I want to see what the net worth is. I'm assuming that they're both leading. Yup. And actually, Radiant's got a pretty significant advantage. I guess I just got stuff on the Darkseer, and Clockwork that didn't really get anything, so it's a Darkseer offline advantage for you.
Yep, Darkseer gonna be working his way towards the mechanism. Looks like his headdress will be finished relatively soon. Actually, his full mechanism might be shipped on its way. Yes, that is the full mechanism, and he already has an early point to wall. I actually like this quite a bit. He used that in the previous engagement in order to try to kill off the Dragon Knight, but unfortunately he was not that successful. But in these early game engagements, with the help of Naga Silent Sleep, you can actually potentially use that wall to very great effect. As Virtus.Pro going to smoke up, but meanwhile, Liquid TC smoked up in the middle lane, trying to get Fluff as much experience as possible. Here comes TC with the follow-up Dragon Tail. They're trying to do as much damage as possible, vacuum into wall, not doing as much as hoped, as Fluff will be able to sort of dance out of the way, trying to go back in for a stun, but he's going to get last worded up. Global Silence just prevents so much of the follow-up from Liquid, and Fluff will be the first one to die in this engagement. Unfortunately, that Global Silence just proved to be too much. Meanwhile, Witch Doctor gonna come in with a Maledict and the Dance of Death will finish off Bulba. IX Mike, in conjunction with his Liquid teammates, trapped onto the high ground. IX Mike is at very low HP. Virtus.Pro just going to clean up house, it looks like, as TC going to be stuck in place. That casket just bouncing all over the place, and VP just going to roll it with it. Can they kill off TC? One more trap looking to chase down TC. I think they should be able to get the kill. TC does have enough mana to spam one more Dragon Tail, but Crazy is on the approach. Fluff with a nice stun, delaying Crazy's approach, and TC will once again narrowly escape death. And meanwhile, Bubba gonna come right back in, but he is dancing a very dangerous dance. Here comes Cork to back up his buddy. Hookshot will come in, stunning Tamar Wild, and that will be the end of that engagement. So overall, I think VP...
VP won.
yeah, it's difficult to say because I don't think Korok
They lost
died.
both of their carries, but they got everyone, right?
They didn't get Dragon Knight. I don't know if they got Korok or not.
Oh, and you know what? I don't think they got Nyx either, so I might be wrong. I think, yeah, Liquid might have won. I don't know.
In the numbers game, VP won, but in a significant Heroes game, Liquid won, I guess.
I think... I don't know. This Tia is playing a little bit sloppy. Like, she missed 2 melds that fight. And she wasted one on the mid lane. Nothing's going to happen. I'm pretty sure this is just a RAS. But yeah, she wasted one on the Disruptor. That's his name. So there was like 3 melds that didn't ever happen. And those really need to go out on like the high armor carries. So...
yeah, what I'm a bit worried about for Liquid is how can they actually fight in Global Silence unless they just tank up Dragon like an absolute champ. I mean, Liquid's DPS just completely falls out of the window. I mean, Dragon Knight himself does not do that much damage. Only Lystro does a significant amount of damage outside of the Global Silence, but the tankiness might allow Liquid to survive.
I'm assuming that TC is going to get BKB next item. If he doesn't, it's definitely going to be a Lothar, so I would think.
Well, Global Silence goes through BKB.
No, if you BKB after Global Silence.
Yeah, BKB after.
And that's the way the fights are going to play out.
ars-art on the top lane, gonna get ganked up by a Smoker to see. Here comes Korok, and ars-art will most certainly die. A rocket gonna fly in, and IX Mike just being safe rather than sorry, gonna pop a glimpse. He has now hit that level 4 glimpse, so now has the ridiculous 1800 or 1200 H. I think it's 1800.
I think it's 18. In fact, I'm sure it is. But some people I've seen.
Oh, on the bottom lane, Fluff is going to initiate. The epicenter is popped out. Nice communication by Liquid as they managed to stun NS continuously. Bulba, unfortunately for him, does whiff the hook as Illidan will be able to escape. But Liquid starting to make a strong comeback. But all the while, Crazy's pushing down the middle tower. We'll see if Liquid can pick off this bomb tower. They have already used epicenter, and the Dragon Knight form is expiring. So I don't know if Liquid can actually push this down. But Tamar Wild, it seems like he won't be able to kill off this tower just yet.
I mean, he has got that he has got those treads, so he damages towers a lot faster. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a straight trade mid for bot. Nope, they're going to defend mid.
Yeah, I don't know if they had enough reinforcements, especially fighting against a Darkseer, Wall, Global Silence, and Song and Siren. I think they realized, you know, better play it safe than sorry. We got a couple significant kills, killing the Silencer as well as killing the Witch Doctor, which isn't really that significant, but still, getting kills nonetheless is definitely going to be very useful. And taking a look at the experience graph, Radiant do have a significant gold as well as experience advantage, and that can be largely attributed, like you previously mentioned, to the Darkseer, as he has got level 11, so he is actually very high leveled, has level 2 wall, and we'll see if VP can start seeing those team fights. Naga Siren is level 11 as well, so 120-second cooldown to ultimate rather than 180. That's pretty big.
That is pretty big. It's not a huge deal until you get rank 3, but the 2 points in it is like enough that you can team fight more frequently, and even, you know, use it to run away and then like have it up for a team fight in the next fight. So this has to be a trade, right? I can't see VP TPing into this tower. Or Liquid, that is.
Well, looks like they're not trading. They're going to try to stick it out, but IX Mike will be swept along with TC. Who will they focus? Going to focus IX Mike. Here comes the Global Silence going to come in. Look at the vacuum wall. We're just raining havoc all over the place. NS, unfortunately, will die. Korok did pop the rage. Here comes Well with a nice hookshot and cog combination. We'll be able to pick off Crazy as Virtus.Pro actually being driven back after a really successful initiation. But so far it was 2 supports for a support and a mid laner, and Virtus.Pro are on the full retreat. Illidan will be able to escape on the back of KSI's surge, but still, nice recovery by Liquid as KSI trying to escape. It looks like he might just be able to escape. Yes, Liquid unfortunately do not manage to catch him out. Fortunately for KSI, unfortunately for Liquid, but still, nice recovery for Liquid as VP dove in a bit too deep. But you saw, I think this combination is only going to get stronger and stronger. The sleep into Darkseer into Global Silence.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurdly strong. We saw it in that fight. Virtus.Pro, I think, really should have killed the tower first and then done it, so, you know, the TPs wouldn't have been on top of them. But I don't think Liquid can win team fights. I just don't think it can happen. And even if they initiate a team fight really well with like a SK ult and a Clockwork, I don't think it's going to be... Like, I think they'll still lose a team fight.
Well,
I think they just have to dodge fights and farm. Mid
Yeah.
lane.
Korok is ridiculous from his mid lane. Once again, KSI will be gone upon. Will pop the mechanism, but Epicenter will still on KSI by a significant amount. Will they have enough damage? Yes, the last hit of the lightning strike will come in by X-Mike, and they will be able to kill off the Darkseer. Very nicely done by Liquid, and with this, I think they might be able to kill off the middle tier 1 tower. Dragon Knight's Dragon form will be coming up. As you can see, he put that second point because he now get the Corrosive Breath. So, really nice buff for Dragon Knight in general. He actually has a level 2 ultimate now that can be useful in a multitude of situations. And Liquid...
Yeah, just... It makes sense that that was a change, you know?
Yeah,
The
it's
other
just
one
like a
makes
quality
sense.
of life change.
Uh-oh, Courier Snipe, you can do it! Meld Strike, there we go.
Only level 1 Cyblades, but that was enough to pick off that poor flying frog, and I don't think it was carrying anything for Liquid. I'm not too sure.
No, it just gave the Claymore to TC, so he's gonna go for that Lothar's build, which normally I think is really strong, but I don't know if I agree with it that much this game. I think BKB would actually be better, and that's gonna be a Diffusal pickup on Naga Siren, so she's just gonna kite those melee heroes around all day.
You know, ars-art picked up the Ogre Club. Looks like he is going for a BKB himself. Never really seen ars-art this farmed. And as with an Arcane Boots, checking out Fluff. He has Arcane Boots himself, and he's working his way towards the dagger. So if they manage to get a Blink and SK stun on the Silencer, they have a way to actually beat Virtus.Pro's team fight. But still, I imagine that ars-art will be staying as far back as possible, as Korok will be able to secure his Basher, and looks like with the Song of Siren being up as well as Darks are respawning, this will be yet another team fight, and Liquid trying to defend this with all their might.
I think that Liquid should win this fight.
Well,
Just the way everybody's positioned right now seems to be in their favor.
and Observer Ward has been planted. They don't have a Sentry Ward to de-ward this trap, as all the while Timod is just going to farm for the jungle. He's going to go for the BKB, as Korok is infested inside Bulba. He already has the Basher, like I mentioned previously. Fluff still working his way towards the dagger. And here comes the team fight. No, not just yet, as both teams playing it very slow, very cautiously. We'll see if Darkseer surges the Naga forward with the Song of the Siren to go in, as Witch Doctor cast will bounce just once. It does not bounce. Nice spread out by Liquid, but now they're not in a strong position to actually defend their tower. Well, I mean, they can get right back in position with the creep wave coming in.
And it isn't deny range, so why are they not denying? I guess I think that they can win this fight.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess they want the tower extra damage if Naga Siren initiates, but here comes the cast yet again. It does not bounce, but that is going to be a free tower without using any big ultimates on the side of Virtus.Pro. Liquid might have made a bit of a misplay, but here comes the long range gun. It's going to catch out ars-art, but the silence is immediately popped. Will Virtus.Pro actually fall up? No, they're just going to leave ars-art to die. KSI trying to move himself into position as the silence does finally come back online. Cask is bouncing onto Bulba. Fluff will stun Timwild in place. Song has been utilized, and Darkseer going to move his way back into position. Going to get the wall up. Can he get the vacuum up as well? The sleep has been dispelled. Here goes the vacuum. The stack storm not going to be nearly enough in time, as Liquid Sports is just going to get completely obliterated. TC trying to run away as fast as he can, but Koraka will find himself netted. He's going to infest into yet another creep, but I think that might have been a premature infest pop. He is going to get Diffusal Blade up. Here comes Cass. Will hit on TC, and TC trying to scurry on out of there. Will be forcing his TP scroll. Is going to escape, but still, that fight went disastrously for Team Liquid. The only person who died, I think, was ars-art. And that's just a support silencer.
Disastrous was a pretty good word for that. I mean, they being Liquid aren't going to win team fights. Like, they really should just be dodging fights right now. They can win the game with like a late game DK, but it's gonna be hard to get there. So
I mean, this is a really scary lineup. There's so many layers of things you have to go through. You have to go through the global silence. You have to go through the Naga sleep and Darkseer vacuum setup. You have to go through the Witch Doctor casks. This is a really scary team fight lineup.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I always cast with you because we never see this here. But I always rip on Witch Doctor. But this is like a really good pick because how are they gonna break? Like, once you have that great setup and then all the silences and stuff, how are you gonna break Death Ward?
Yeah, I mean,
Have you actually seen? Have you seen if they're he's getting Maledict off after Vacuum? Because that'd be really impressive if he was.
I haven't been able to see. I don't know if he was able to get in the last fight because it was so scattered, but I think Liquid just pretty much died regardless, so it might have been a factor, it might not have been, but all the while, Witch Doctor's working his way towards the Aghanim Scepter as the point booster, and NS must just be rubbing his hands. I'm rubbing my hands in anticipation, and we are going to see an Aghanim Scepter silencer instead of a BKB silencer. Yo, that curse is silence. Oh, the Song of Silence is going to be popped. They're trying to go in on TC, but TC just going to say, I'm not going to be a part of this whatsoever. Aghanim's on everybody. This is the motto of VP.
Yeah, it's this new patch. Everybody gets an Aghanims. Except, you know, most of the VP who doesn't actually have an upgrade for it, but... Actually, no, you're right. I completely forgot about Darks here, so... Yeah, why not?
I mean, not...
I guess if everybody's going to be silenced for a really long time, it kind of makes sense on Silencer this game. Like, what else is he going to build?
That's
actually,
true.
You know, because they already have a mech, right?
Yeah,
like,
on Darks.
What else does he need? He's gonna die in fights. Like, that guy isn't gonna live at all. Between, you know, the Clockwork and the DK and the Nyx, that guy's gonna die in 3 hits. So, you know, why not just play completely around your ultimate?
And actually makes Curse of Silence somewhat useful in games. For a long time, it was considered the worst spell in Dota. But, I mean, that 2 seconds, it's 100 damage and 48 mana lost at the current level, and it goes up to 130 damage and 64 mana lost. I mean, every bit does count in a team fight situation. Oh, yeah, 2 seconds of Curse of Silence. It's not the full duration of the ultimate. Is it?
How exactly? I thought it was the full duration, but I don't know. It's.
I mean,
I always forget stuff like immediately after the change. So.
Yeah, I thought for a second it's 2 seconds, but then I'm like, what? If the buff is applied, then wouldn't it be for the full duration?
Yeah. And
I think it might be level 2 Curse of Silence is applied to everybody, so for the full duration, something like that.
Is it the full duration and then it falls off, or is it just it's applied and then it's still on them after the ultimate wears off?
I have no idea.
We're gonna either way, it's gonna deal damage, right? So
yeah, we're gonna find out soon because he was point booster, and I'm gonna be taking a close watch on that Curse of Silence. But meanwhile, Nagasarn has the Yasha. We'll see if she goes into a Vit booster, but I think she's just gonna rely on maneuverability. She just has so much movement speed, 491 base movement speed with the phase boots being applied, and Liquid really can't catch her.
No, I mean, what are you gonna do to get her? You have to use the DK stun on her. But when there's 4 illusions and she actually like plays it right, how do you even know which one it is? So
well,
they haven't got the AoE to kill her illusions. All they have is the DK ult form. That's it. So he's got to attack them a little bit and then try to kill her, but she's gonna him before he can even stun. Like, he has no mana pool.
Well, Crazy just got a whole lot more difficult to kill. He's picked up his BKB, and ars-art has finished his Aghanim Scepter, the first Aghanim Scepter on the side of Virtus.Pro, but probably won't be the last, as Darkseer and the Witch Doctor are going to be making their way towards the upgrade relatively soon. Meanwhile, Fluff has picked up the dagger, so he has the reliability to use the epicenter, but still, the sleep and the global silence just means it's going to be so damn hard. Sand King in this game, it's just so damn hard to be in Sand King's shoes.
Yeah. Even, like, here's the scenarios for him. 1, you go on at the beginning of the fight. Here's what happens. Naga sleeps, everybody backs off, mechs, and then you die. And then I will finish this after this fight happens, because it is about to happen.
Trap being sprung onto Korok, he's going to Rage to Dispel, and a defensive Connect Shield will be forced, so Virtus.Pro not going to pursue the issue. They're just going to get free tower, say why risk it. And meanwhile, TC, only level 13, making his way towards the BKB, but like you mentioned, the Shadow Blade only really helping in terms of split pushing, but that damage nerf really not helping him that much, as Liquid are in position to defend this, but they are not going to be able to defend this appropriately, as here comes the initiation by Sand King. Will be able to get Korok infested, but here comes Sleep like you mentioned, but Illidan will still take a lot of damage. Keep in mind that BKB by Korok going to be used, as Global Silence is going to be forced as well. Curse Silence reigning supreme in this battle, as NS will be ulted by Disruptor by himself. So far, it's 1-for-1. Liquid playing this fight remarkably well, as Darkseer not really in a great position to get too much done, but Liquid slowly but surely getting picked off. TC will have to retreat on out of there, and Clockwork will be the next one to die. TC gonna try to escape. He will have the Shadow Blade up before he dies, I do believe. And yes, TC will be able to get on out of there. I'm not too sure why Liquid decided to take the teamfight after the tower died, but I guess they saw an opening. And it almost worked, but the sleep just being a super buzzkill.
Well, yeah, I know. I either said it or I was gonna say it, right? If SK goes in, what happens is they sleep, Mac, and then they win the fight. So, TNW's gonna get gone up. He's just gonna back up, and Korok's getting all his mana drained, and yes, he's Rage, and he doesn't even want to, but looks like Virtus.Pro is gonna back out. Like,
Silencer gonna get glimpsed in, and he will most likely die. And Crazy is debating whether or not he wants to save his ally. Looks like he will just avoid that scenario completely by running on out of there. I mean, the good thing about Liquid is that Korok and TC are not dying. The bad thing for Liquid is that the supports are always dying. Without supports, they really don't have much damage, especially when Dragonite and Lifesteal can be kited so easily.
Yeah, I mean, Naga's just gonna run around, and TA's gonna run around, and there are traps, and it's just, you can't deal with those heroes. And TA is probably pretty close to, normally when you get a bunch of other items that aren't like a fast Stygian, like drums and BKB, you just go into the Daedalus, but in this case I'm pretty sure she's just going to get a Stygian because the really high armor on Nyx and DK.
Well, Darkseer has just finished his own Agnums, meanwhile Liquid's in progression. Mike decided to take this opportunity to buy himself a gem, just trying to get some
No, he
semblance
picked it
of
up.
map control.
Ars-art
He
dropped
picked it up of ars-art?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Nagasiren gonna pick up Diffusal Blade level 2, so now does more mana burn. Finish the Mantis style as well, so just getting a lot of damage, a lot of maneuverability on her side. Meanwhile, Balba, not too many items whatsoever. Trying to work his way towards that BKB most likely, but still. I mean, its impact in these teamfights is going to be very questionable. But I guess that might force the Nagasiren to pick and choose between the targets when slept up, because you saw in the last engagement, sleep doesn't affect magically immune targets, so Korok just found himself netted while everybody took a nice nap.
Yeah. And that kind of sucked, like, between net and sleep.
Oh, Illidan gonna come in with a huge long-range sleep, only level 15, so it doesn't have that level 3 sleep, but they're gonna use this to finally kill off TC, who's just been able to survive so often in these engagements. And that is a... Oh, he just managed to pick up his BKB, so not too bad for TC, but still, he's dead for the next 50 seconds. This will be a free rush for Virtus.Pro.
This is going to be a Rax after Rush on 2, unless like Liquid has some miraculous defense. I don't think that they can fight VP right now, and the lanes aren't in their favor at all. So I'm pretty sure TA takes this, and then they just take mid Rax, or bot Rax, because that would actually be a little bit easier.
Well, maybe they'll wait for the Nagasiren ultimate to be back up, but it is cooling down quite rapidly, and he's going to hit level 16 relatively soon as he does pick up the Aegis of the Immortal. Maybe since he's melee and will be in the forefront of a lot of engagements, especially in the base breaking scenario. He wants to have that extra bit of insurance since he does have anything like a VIP booster or treads to give him a little bit of extra HP. But Virtus.Pro just going to push out the top lane with Tim Wild, wait for the Nagasiren sleep to come back online, and it's going to be difficult for Team Liquid to actually defend this. It's just so hard.
Yeah, and they are actually going to farm VP, that is, for a little bit longer, but I can't imagine them taking much longer to break the space. I guess the only reason they backed up was, like you said, because sleep wasn't up, but why, like, if you go late game, you know, it's a crapshoot. Anything can happen late game, but right now, I haven't checked the XP or gold. They're significantly in Radiant's favor, and, like, this is when the iron's hot, right? You just gotta end the game. So, one big team fight, I doubt that Liquid has buybacks. Like, you see TC's finishing items, you see Korok's finishing items, so I would go for it.
Yeah, the Nagasiren is cooling down very rapidly as Lucian's going to once again push out the creep waves. But yeah, Dragonite is closing to that very crucial level 16. He's going to start to build towards actual damage items, whether it be AC or, you know, plus damage in general. So VP should look to make the move now because, I mean, why not? They're at their peak at this moment. The only thing that can get better is the Nagasiren ultimate cooldown as Ix might gonna approach the fight, but Fluff and Ix might come in a very, very awkward position. Instead, they're gonna focus their attention on Bulba as well as TC. Here comes the Gold Silence, gonna apply the vacuum, and Korok is trying to do whatever he can, but the Gold Silence is just doing way too much. BKB was popped after Gold Silence, but TC just forced to run the heck out of there. NS will be killed off on the side of Virtus.Pro, but they are gonna sacrifice 3 Liquid heroes, and TC will end up dying. Desolator doing so much damage. Fluff trying to do whatever he can to help out his teams, but in the end, Liquid get completely wiped. As Liquid, maybe they felt like they had to take the fight and just look for whatever opening they could possibly get, maybe catch Virtus.Pro off guard. But it's so hard to initiate into a Nagasiren. I don't know if that was the correct move by Liquid.
Well, I think Liquid's kind of feeling the pressure too. And I think I mentioned this with you last cast, right? Like, when you know you're gonna lose, like if you know in 5 minutes you're probably gonna lose, even you got to make something happen now, even if it's probably not gonna work. So, I can't really fault them for trying to push bot tower. They had all their tanky stuff up. It's just Virtus.Pro really executes Naga Siren better than any team I've seen since TI2. So.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't even have any tanky items like a Pit Booster, and she just stays back. I mean, it does help that they have a Global Silence, but they always use the Global Silence after the sleep ends for the most part. They just rely on the ridiculous range of sleep to bail them out of trouble. So Liquid wins the first set of barracks, and if there is a bright spot, TC's going to hit that level 16 relatively soon, but that's pretty much the only bright spot that I can see. I mean, Abyssal Blade's been fished up on Korok, but even then, he can only use it on Witch Doctor, and that was the only kill being picked up in that entire engagement. Korok is doing a lot of DPS, but still, when everybody else is slept, he can't do it by himself.
And TA is getting to one-shot triple kill status. Once she has a Daedalus up with the Desolator, she can legitimately, not one-shot, but like two-shot, and get a triple kill, just because of it. Like, if you line up the side blades right, and it's really easy to line up side blades when you have a Darkseer and a Naga Siren, and for that matter, Witch Doctor, because it's like two people who are stunned together, so.
Yep, Virtus.Pro looking to make the most of the Aegis, trying to end the game while they still can. All their ultimates are up. Global Silence is the only exception, but that will be up in a matter of moments. And Liquid, unfortunate for them, the Roshan still has about 2.5 minutes left before it actually expires. So Virtus.Pro going to come in to try to finish off the game. The Illusions are being forced by the Naga Siren, trying to siege onto this tier 3 tower, and they will be able to kill this tower without too much trouble. Here comes Hope with initiation inside Korok, but Global Silence has been used. A little bit of miscommunication by Virtus.Pro for once, as Silence and Global Silence and the Song of Siren were utilized. Here comes the Vacuum Wall, though, catching pretty much everybody inside Liquid. KSI taking a lot of damage on the back of the Abyssal Blade Lifesteal, but still Timwild finally pumping out the DPS, being able to melt down Korok, and so far nobody inside Virtus.Pro has died. Bulba just trying to get the heck out of there, but he cannot run, he cannot hide from the chasing prowess of Virtus.Pro, and this should be a GG well played in a matter of moments.
Yeah, I can't imagine this game going longer than this. Yeah, for me, the MVP was probably the Naga Siren in that game, and you know me, I never said carries are MVP, but she played really well, she farmed really well, and her sleeps and like Kushiwana was really on spot, so.
Yeah, the only thing I'm slightly disappointed is that we're not going to see look at it go.
I know, I was so upset. I was just thinking that he hasn't quite finished it. He has now, but like,
yeah.
who cares?
Finish your acronyms. Glyph, Liquid, Glyph, please!
28 seconds.
Life is hard. So we're not going to be able to pump that crazy dubstep, but still, Virtus.Pro taking a very, very nice series victory. Never really in doubt in either games. They played pretty well. I mean, not so on game one, but their superior draft pulled them through. In this game, I think it was a combination of both. They played and they drafted better. So Liquid,
I would agree with that, yeah.
Clearly still experimenting, but we'll see. There's still a bit of time left before DreamHack Summer, and Liquid, of course, are boot camping after that for Vegas for I think like 2 months. So they're still a very, very strong team, but unfortunately, this new patch so far has not been treating them well. So thank you for watching. We'll be back with the next cast very, very soon, and we'll see you next time. Peace.